savage and it's cruel and it shines like destruction, comes in like the flood and it seems like religion.
I want procreational activity, let's call it, but I
The
don't.
marital act?
But I don't want babies. That is totally alien to today's world. That you would even raise that question. It is completely. People would look at you like an owl. They'd just be blank face, big eyes, like, what are you even on about?
Yeah.
I'd say is
Pat you on the back, like, bless your heart.
Yeah, bless your heart. Just count me out. Yeah, it's just madness. Catholics, mad, crazy.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Even like subgroup of Catholic within that.
Yeah.
Crazy
Even
ones.
most Catholics. It'd be, the world is totally wedded to contraception.
And that is familiar for Catholics to know that that is the contraceptive mindset.
Yeah, it's hard to know what you'd say. Sex is not for babies, only on rare occasions, the most rare.
Like, I suppose for the modern world, it's like for 1, 2 or 3 occasions as a general rule. Like 3 is wild and then 4 is absolutely...
Totally crazy.
Yeah.
You've entered the twilight zone
at
4. What set me off on all this is we got asked to do a chat about marriage about a year or so ago, and I can't bear to do. It's all about communication and relationship. I just think there's no way I can do anything like that. Just be against all my northern values and
to talk about it, however,
to kind of pitch. That. Yeah, of course. We'll come back
very
to that. I'll come back to that. Yeah, I'm
cuddly.
Yeah, Mr. McLove, but.
So we're doing the marriage chat, yeah.
Yeah, I've done a couple of wedding preps, and it was kind of angled like that. Marriage was all, where are you on the spectrum of how close are you to your spouse or partner or whatever it was, and how do you think about finances? And I thought, oh gosh, this is so painful. It's like a TED Talk, it's just guff, really. So I didn't want to go there and do that kind of thing. I thought, well, I don't really know.
And the overall brief was talk about marriage and family.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? I forget now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So I thought, I just need to know. I need to do like background reading on, because what is marriage? I wouldn't even really know how to, man and a woman, together forever, death do us part. Like basic, I just know basic stuff like anyone else. But I didn't know. So anyway, so I went, started reading. I think it was Casticanubi. I'd maybe heard of it a couple of times in my whole life. Have you ever heard of it?
I definitely hadn't, but I know that the students at RCA are going to look at some of it at some point.
Are they? I did wedding prep in 2006. I know, yes.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah, I did do it. Yeah.
I see what you mean. I was thinking, gosh, you were young to be giving wedding prep marriage prep when you weren't even married.
Yeah, I wasn't married yet, but just so I just didn't like it.
What are the red flags? What are the things that bothered you?
All the kind of sermons I've grown up with, just warm-worded, affirmation, tedious stuff. That's anyway. So Casticanubi. So I started reading Casticanubi, which was written in 1930. Pius XI, I think.
Okay.
But he wrote it in response to the Lambeth Council, which was, have you ever heard of that?
No.
Maybe
I've heard it mentioned.
I'd heard it mentioned once. It's like the level of Kool-Aid we're all living in. Lambeth Council was the Church of England. They have these councils every so often, it turns out.
Yeah.
And they vote. It's so crazy. They vote on what changes they should make about moral law. Anyway, so they changed...
Is it always Lambeth Council, or is it different councils just
places,
like we have?
We have. So they have theirs in... Yeah, I think it's the same year. Casticanubi and Lambeth, the same year, because Casticanubi wrote that fast in response to... Anyway, they changed their mind about contraception. Christian Church, up to Lambeth Council, was against artificial contraception.
Okay.
So this is the modern world, Church of England, well established. Even, I think, selling contraception is illegal in England at this point, in the 20th century. The vote against contraception is tiny, and the vote for it is big. And they
go with the majority.
Yeah, go with the majority. And they even say, it's to your conscience, and it's still bad, and you shouldn't do it. But, to basically just wave the motorcade for Satan right through the gates, kind of open the gates, and then you go. I don't know who votes if it's just all bishops.
Ultimately, it's like democratic.
Yeah, it's just so crazy.
It's not based on whether it's right and wrong. It's just how many people thought that at the time.
And I think the backdrop to this is Margaret Sanger and all that kind of movement. Bum, bum, bum. So she's around this time. She's big, and contraception is big, and people are starting to.
Would it be bad if I flick whilst you're talking?
Yeah, flick while you're talking.
Okay, can. Yep.
So they changed their mind. Then Pope Pius XI, he writes Casti Connubii.
Quicker in response.
Yeah, in response, and he reaffirms the Church's position against artificial contraception and against contraception as well, because we just kind of think contraception always means artificial contraception, but damn, Maria. And I'd heard of Onan. You heard of Onan?
Yeah, I had.
Yeah, I'd heard of him, but I didn't know I didn't know what a big deal it was. I just thought Old Testament, not so much a big deal. Blah blah blah, just ignore it. So Onan, his brother dies, and he's expected to take on his brother's wife, and he doesn't want an heir, maybe because he'll lose the inheritance will go to the son and not him or something. Anyway, he does not want a baby, but he does want to have a nice time. So he uses the pulling out,
the withdrawal technique.
And he gets killed, bang, right there and then. God's not happy about that, so he kills him. And that's one of the main reasons that Church is against contraception. If God just kills you straight out, it's quite serious, isn't it, Maria? Who's John the Baptist's dad? What happens to him? He doubts that his wife can become pregnant.
Zachariah. Yes, he doubts.
And for his lack of faith,
he is made dumb.
Dumb, right. So that you can get killed. But God, when you start questioning the womb and life and messing around there, it seems to rile the Almighty up, doesn't it? And he gets it all back when his son's born, doesn't it, or something? When
he says his name is John, which was the instruction.
Oh, yeah.
And that was against everyone's advice and things at the time.
Right. And I think this is one of the other, again, I will come back to it later, but she's meant to be in the menopause, supposedly, isn't she?
She's very old. Yeah, she's very old.
So not expected to have a child, but she does. There's kind of like an information, but when I was growing up as a Catholic, none of this. I mean, you could have travelled as much as Phileas Fogg and lived as long as Dracula. You would not hear a sermon on these kind of subjects. You could have gone to any mass in Europe. Nobody saw it at mass. Mm-hmm. You just don't. Do you hear about it growing up?
No.
I don't know of it. It's just like information blackout.
I suppose you just see your parents, don't you? As in, that's all I saw was my parents.
Yeah, but you'd have exceptional parents.
But ultimately that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that you just see.
Everyone's bought less Kool-Aid, but Catholics are bought into the Kool-Aid as much as anyone. They have in smaller families. Mm-hmm. Blah, blah, blah. Church of England's having smaller families. They're doing it. I do it. I just naturally, you kind of almost naturally take on the sin. Anyway, it did say in Catholic.
And also, I suppose it's promoted in, or at least
schools,
promulgated in Catholic schools.
MTV,
and
it's crazy stuff.
And
it did have this line in Catholic. It talks quite, compared to all the sermons growing up. It's not like.
But on the sermons, I have to say, they don't have to be talking about such sordid things, maybe, but they could talk about some things.
You just got to talk about it once in the kind of course of the year or every
I suppose
in the church cycle, and you wouldn't forget, would you? It's not the kind of thing you'd forget.
You don't need to use those explicit words, I suppose, for some things in front of children.
Modesty and all that kind of stuff, but I still think information blackout. It did say in Casti Connubii, it said about all this kind of stuff, if the blind lead the blind, like, as in the shepherds, the shepherds of the flock lead the blind, then both fall into the pit. That's quite heavy talk, isn't it? Like, because we would naturally claim
if the
ignorance.
Blind
we just naturally, I don't know about any of this stuff. It's like, well, don't matter. It's quite heavy. We think in fairness, like, if no one's told me, I'm not guilty, but it does say like quite chilling stuff. And the Onan story is quite chilling, that it's not even artificial, so there is a chance. Onan is on a technicality, open to life, because I typed into Google, what is the failure rate of pulling out? is quite high. I suppose a lot depends on your strength of will. But anyway, but there is a failure rate or an openness to life. So if you're getting killed for that, if God's killing him straight for that, what's it going to do? Taking the pill, wearing stuff.
So Peter's making notes for this lovely marriage talk that we're going to be doing a year ago. And I'm thinking, bless their hearts.
Bless their hearts. I forget what I said now, but it would have been I would have said some of this.
Well, it's the openness to life thing, I suppose. I suppose because it's not spoken about, and that's the thing.
Yeah, even
so much.
openness.
And not that we're being so unique. I don't mean that either.
Yeah.
Like, people do talk about it, obviously, but in a general sense, it's generally not spoken about.
Knickers are going to get massively twisted, aren't they? Because if you're doing it, you're going to feel bad, and if you're not doing it...
I suppose, and so many people have come... Like, it's difficult. You've gone through Catholic schools, but it's so secularised that people then, like, sort of live as the world lives, and then they'll live together and all those sorts of things, and then...
Yeah, I quite like... Reading it is quite complicated, and I kind of quite like the simple idea. If the faith is going to be universal to all people across all time and all places, then it's got to be quite simple teachings, especially when it comes to making babies, like what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. If it's like super complex, you know.
So how did you find it? Complex?
Yeah, complex. But you want simple rules. Anyway, so there were some simple rules like procreation is primary. That's what it used to say in the church. It's changed its mind now, I think. You don't see procreation. When you read like later documents, you don't see procreation as primary. I suppose it's even go back to Genesis. So God says, go forth and multiply. What's he on about? I had no idea. Last Kool-Aid. I've no idea.
I did think that was obvious.
What is it?
Have babies. Because here's the initial
Yeah, but is he telling...
species going...
Is he telling everyone they've got to have babies?
Oh, I don't know, Peter.
I don't know either.
Well, I would have thought yes, like everyone have babies, animals have babies, and humans have babies.
Everyone's got to have babies.
Well, no, just parts of the human race.
Which parts?
Any of you, but just go and have babies.
So what does it mean then? I know here, but it is hard to know.
Well, look, nuns, yeah, but also just some people make sure you're having babies, and some people are nuns and have a vocation.
Are they not doing God's commandment then?
And back then, a long time ago, they weren't entering the religious life or anything like that.
I
Yeah,
suppose not.
they were just giving it the best shot, I suppose.
It's not kind of obvious what the answer is.
I would have thought it is, but I might be wrong. I would have thought it is just have babies. Why is that not obvious? Go forth and multiply.
Or do you just have as many as you want? Or do you just have as many as possible?
I'd say just have as many as
Yeah, I
possible.
know. So I suppose part of it is that is true because look, me and you are just have as many as possible. So it's the end of the conversation. It's not even a conversation really. It's just...
Or just have whatever God gives you. And if God doesn't give you a baby, then you don't have a baby. And that is a special cross. And if he does give you one, that is a special cross. We lost that baby about 6 months ago. And it's really sad. Really sad. And there's like empty feelings and all of that. I want to say that it is tough.
It's hard work, Maria.
There's this kind of like, there's something there. It's like this empty sadness or something. At
and
times.
even though you got loads of babies, still
yeah,
hurt.
exactly.
Really
Yeah,
hurts.
yeah. And so I appreciate that.
It's quite private
Yeah.
because you can't go out saying, hey, I got loads of kids, but I lost one.
And also you just, and you don't, everyone's got things going on as well. But I'd just say for that thing, I did feel it's hard having babies. It is hard having babies. Like now the baby would be due this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
So actually the baby might be here. And then that would be me feeling like a big fat whale and having to give birth, which is really hard as well. Really hard. There's that whole period of time where I actually just feel kind of disabled. And instead I had a summer where actually it's the way it happened because that's just what God gave us. But I just could be so active and fit. I painted the rooms and
Great job.
did a load of moving things and I felt like this is so cool. I can move things without feeling bad. I'm not pregnant. I'm not going to damage myself or a baby or fall over or whatever. So it is hard having babies and it is hard not having babies. And I say that because I appreciate that just us having this conversation might come across that.
The special ones get the babies.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The not so special don't get the
Yeah.
babies.
It's just, I don't know how that maths works, and one of those things I want to find out in heaven. But that's it, isn't it? It's just God knows what we each need, and we have that kind of like personal shaped cross type suffering, which is right for us.
I'd never heard of the Douay-Rheims, Maria.
Douay-Rheims Bible.
You'd heard of it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably in the last 10 years, I suppose.
All right. Yeah, I'd not heard. So it's like the Catholic Bible written by Catholic philosophers, theologians, and that was like the text the church worked off. Anyway, so in the commentary for the Bible, it would say, go forth and multiply, and then said the commentary, this is not a commandment because animals and fishes and birds cannot receive a moral commandment, but it applies to them. It is the blessing of nature. I don't really know what that means, the blessing of nature, but it turns out what it all whittles down to, in Casti Connubii anyway, is if you are going to have a nice time, then you cannot frustrate nature. So that's the
nature has been blessed with that task.
So he could have said. So God could have said, "Go forth and make memories," or "Go forth and expand consciousness," or "Go." Yeah, any of those kind of corny things now that people do, yoga and transcendental
Affirm each other.
Yeah, affirm each other and self yourself up, or any of that stuff. But the nature of nature, if you like, is to get the babies. If you don't get one, that's God's department. But if you get in the way of it, like pulling out or pills, or all the awful things that go on.
And that people don't notice. So, but it would be interesting for any one of those to think, do you know what am I putting in my body? Because we are far from that now, and only because we weren't brought up to think that was a normal thing, to have
Pills.
those whatever devices in your body, coils and other things, implanted.
Normal in people's minds because sex is not for babies, it's for
Consumerism.
Yeah, it's kind of like transaction for pleasure or love. We might get called fundamentalist or crazy for having these views that sex is for babies first and then anything else you want second, but the culture is telling women to take pills for pretty much the whole of their youth, their adult life.
Readjust and
Yeah, crazy. That is crazy.
Their hormones.
You don't even know fully the side effect. That is crazy. Putting things... That is just madness. If it gets infected,
devices.
That is.
Are those things like move around? They get stuck in different places.
Oh gosh, it's crazy.
I know a few stories of that.
Yeah. And that's just for starters. STDs. For life. Yeah.
Also,
some of them
strokes
for life.
increase your chance of stroke, breast cancer.
Yeah. All to make sure to separate sex from babies. That's the kind of modernity is wedded to that idea that. And unique. So I kind of like the modern mind. I think when they start getting kids to do it at school, all these lessons, it's because the modernity is absolutely wedded to the idea that sex is all part of your personal expression. Or I wouldn't even know the exact phrase to give it.
That your God is yourself, and it's just whatever you need to have to be happy and fulfilled in life, or whatever. Then you need all those experiences, or. And also, what about people who can't have babies? Does that not say that what they're doing is...
In terms from the Catholic point of view?
And that, you should be open to life?
Yeah, I think because you're not frustrating nature. So if you get married and you're... And again, look,
and that is
it's a bit like the menopause,
the beautiful side effect of making love is...
Yeah, I'd even say that's a modernity to call it that. I know we call it that, don't we?
The marital house.
Yeah. No, but because I would say... Because we've got that phrase, but that's kind of love has supplanted babies as being the primary. Sex is for love, and then maybe babies, and then pleasure or whatever. But in Casticanubian, in kind of traditional church teaching, is conform yourself to nature. So we get married. So even, I think it was saying you get married as justice to the child that you might have, because the child deserves to have mum and dad around.
That best
it's not
unit.
Whether you're in love or not. It's up to you. But I think they call it.
Yeah,
an
I think even
office
Jordan
of,
Peterson says a bad marriage is better than like broken up family.
Yeah, it's an office of nature. I never heard these kind of phrases, office of nature, but you can make sense when you hear it. It's just, the church
You're
is
the
taking,
two people that are going to love that child the most.
Yeah, or
most
look
likely.
after that child, and whether you love each other is kind of up to you. And kind of love, it's like a tide, isn't it? It comes, goes, and how you're going to define it, and.
I hope it doesn't go for you, perhaps.
What? No, it doesn't. I suppose, like, going back to what you were saying earlier, I get annoyed about all these love language books and all this kind of silly stuff, but
I've got one on the shelf.
yeah, you got one on the shelf, yeah. But I'm from quite old-fashioned. My dad is an old-fashioned guy. He's like born before the war. He's probably old-fashioned in his time. He didn't come to me and say, son, you need to tell your wife every day you love her and stuff. I just kind of give your kids it wouldn't be like sentimental like that. Though he's not an unloving person, just kind of very old-fashioned guy. But I am, giving all the kids a hug, go and give mummy a kiss, a hug, always praising
Yeah, you're
you.
very...
Yeah, I'd be like...
Gift of touch.
Yeah, I would be like, I'd be kind of...
Love language, gift of touch.
Yeah, I'd be like Mr. Love McLove.
Yeah.
But that's on me. It's like my free choice to do it. It's kind of now...
Okay.
I suppose part of what I'm saying is...
Touchy-feely talks or something.
No one has come to me. I don't need... It's up to you. It's up to your personality and up to what you want out of marriage. How all that side... The warm feelings, how all that goes. But I suppose what's changed in church teaching, which really annoys me actually, the more I read, it just got worse and worse, Maria. So it used to be that procreation is primary, and all the love side is up to you. So you could consent. So when you got married, you're effectively consenting to, again, I've never heard this kind of stuff, the begetting and education of children. So the begetting bit is me and you and God does this bit. But if we get the children, we'll be judged. If we get to the pearly gates and we didn't educate them in the faith, then bad news for me. And that doesn't mean just give them an education in maths, but you've got to teach them about God and the faith. So if your children all fall away and you didn't educate them in the faith, well, it's going to be bad news. So anyway, so that used to be would you have heard that, begetting and education of children? I wouldn't have really heard of it.
I don't know.
It's in Pride and Prejudice, Maria, at the end. Yeah. I might put it in this video.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of God and in the face of this congregation to join together this man and this woman, and this man and this woman in holy matrimony, which is an honorable estate instituted by God in the time of man's innocency, signifying unto us the mystical union that is between Christ and his church, and therefore is not by any to be enterprised lightly or wantonly to satisfy man's carnal lusts and appetites, but reverently, discreetly, advisedly, soberly, and in the fear of God, duly considering the causes for which matrimony was ordained. First, it was ordained for the procreation of children. Secondly, as a remedy against sin and to avoid fornication. Thirdly, for the mutual society, help and comfort that the one ought to have of the other, both in prosperity and adversity, into which holy estate these persons present come now to be joined.
Did you know, I didn't know this, there was a 1917 Code of Canon Law with all the kind of codes of canon law codified or put together in one big book.
For the Catholic Church.
Do you ever know that? Because you kind of do more,
I'm
more
not
stuff.
sure. What's it called?
Just the Code of Canon Law.
Oh,
There was
right.
one in 1917.
No, I don't know that.
And then they rewrote a new code of canon law for 1983. I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
All right, maybe that's kind of stuff we shouldn't really know because we're just laity.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, like the legal runnings of the moral church or something.
Yeah, we kind of
I don't know.
trust the church to get on with
Yep.
the higher-minded stuff, and we just get on with having babies, doing whatever, raising them. Anyway, so that used to be the thing. And in the 1917 Code of Canon Law, to consent to marriage, this crazy stuff, you were consenting to rights over the body suitable for the generation of children. Have you heard that phrase? I never heard of it, Maria.
No.
So it just means, exclusive until death. So it means I've got
I suppose in layman's terms it's...
yeah, I've got rights over you, you've got rights over me for having a nice time. And we have to be exclusive, no one else,
Yeah.
until death do us part. And that's how you make babies, by the way. And that's all you had to consent to. If you understood that, then you were consenting to marriage. And if you weren't drunk, being forced, if I wasn't your cousin, maybe some other stuff, then that was a legit marriage. Hard and fast biology. Go for it, off you go.
And colouring around the edges and do what you like around the edges. Here's the skeleton of marriage.
Here's what
agreement.
makes it legit.
Yeah.
You can dress up all the kind
Get
of...
annoyed with each other all day or don't get annoyed with each other.
Yeah. But as long as you're a free mind, not being forced, not a cousin, it's legit.
Fine.
Yeah, if you change your mind 10 years later, unlucky, you got married.
Yeah.
Then in the 83 code, the wording changes, Maria. It's so slippery. I'll put up the exact text, but just to put it in layman's terms, marriage is, there's not primary and secondary anymore.
Unitive.
It is, unitive. So it's about babies and it's about the unitive qualities of mummy and daddy having a nice time. And if you ain't feeling the unity, and they call it, the kind of language changes, it's called a total gift of self. This is kind of like theology of the body language. And so now part of the consent is this, you are consenting to be a total gift of self, which sounds great, sounds amazing, sounds incredible.
It sounds like the word
Incredible.
you were saying, the rights to each other's body and the exclusive rights. Sounds like you giving your whole self. Yeah.
What is giving your whole self, right? What is he? When do I enter the rarefied state of being a total gift of self, as opposed to just a gift of self, like, you give birth to children, you raise the children, I go out to work, blah, blah. That's, I would say, gift of self, of course. Why is a total gift of self? When do I enter
Exclusive rights to the body and...
Why change all that language? In the 83 Code of Canon Law, it's got this kind of language. I'll put the language on screen. And it will say, in the commentary for the Code of Canon Law, it will say, it's so crazy, it's so snake oil. We do not know what all the essences are for this so-called total gift of self. Therefore, the words to the effect of, you can't fully consent, because you can never fully know what a total gift of self is. So you can never actually fully consent in your marriage. And that's how they get all these annulments. So before, like 1900, you might get 100 annulments globally, something like, I think the stats are like that. If somebody is your cousin or forced or peer pressured, they would look into that, and that would be an old-fashioned annulment. Now what they do, I think in America there's something like maybe 50,000 a year. It's crazy. 50,000 a year, Maria. Annulments ratified by the church. And you might have had children, you might have been married for 10 years, both baptised, both Catholic. That is crazy. And it's off the back of either one spouse claiming that the other spouse never fully intended to be a total gift of self at the time of marriage. Because an annulment has to, unlike the divorce...
The annulment has to say that at the moment of marriage it was null and void.
Yeah, so
it wasn't a valid marriage.
Therefore a marriage never took place.
It never took place. It's not a divorce. It's not a separation. It just never was a marriage.
It's such slippery language. If we were to make the claim now Catholics don't do divorce, and some clever atheist come along and said, well, I've read all this paperwork, the old stuff, the new stuff.
Seems like you could just, anyone could
it'd just like completely pretentious language. We're not calling it divorce, it's annulment. There's all these bells and whistles and fancy words, but it's the same outcome, isn't it? Like the kids get split up, the state moves in. The church is kind of like get a bit riled up here, but the church has kind of privatised out the divorce side of it to the state. It's all, while it's all good times, the church is, yeah, come in the church, you know, we're going to verify your special love that you've all got. Bang, you know, you two are special love. Oh, this is going to be amazing. Yeah, as long as it's good times, the church is there for you. But as soon as, you know, one wants an annulment, you know, just get, I think you get, you don't get a lot, I think you get a tribunal,
the
don't you?
church would do the thing. But then what you're saying is privatises, or it sends out
as soon as
as in like they're looking after the children, they're dealing with like the breakup of the whole family.
Because it used to be, a bishop would come in, if you wanted to separate from your spouse, a bishop would come in and investigate the whole thing after a few months.
Exactly, yeah, I was going to say, because you can do it initially.
So you can do it initially yourself, but it's good that you're not, Maria.
Thank you.
But as soon as one part...
And then after a certain amount of time, you'd have to...
Yeah, you'd have to either get back together
say,
or separate,
Yeah.
But you couldn't just get remarried, you would be separated.
Yeah.
What God has put together, let no man put asunder. But now if somebody wants the annulment, you just got to get O.J. Simpson lawyer or O.J. Simpson tribunal and say all the right... get all, you know, he was controlling the bank account. I mean, it's easy to argue it from the woman's point of view, I suppose, in today's world. But I'm sure there's, you know, she never wanted whatever. Or she you could say, well, look, she never wanted children, or she only wanted one child and was therefore not open to life.
Or she only wanted children and she wasn't interested at other times or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So there used to be a thing called the wedding debt. Heard of that?
Marriage debt.
Yeah, marriage debt. Marriage debt. That's like out no more, because that challenges the new look.
You're going into a lot of things here, Peter.
Yeah, I know, but look,
You're
anyway, so I'm just
just
pointing out that this is like the language. So when, I suppose the backdrop to all this.
So, yeah, because you're not pointing out necessarily the wrongs of the church, because I'm sorry, but I find that whole chat boring. So do you. We don't want to just sit here and slag off the church. I would say that is a sideline of what we do, of what you're chatting about.
But we do
what you're highlighting is...
Like we're trads on, where we kind of go to the old mass and go... And it's kind
of, we appreciate, appreciate the tradition of the Catholic Church, which is a traditional religion.
So, and we're looking around the world, like modernity has done rubbish at marriage, hasn't it? It's done a terrible job, like 40% or 50% divorce. Even in, but even, what's her name? She's pro-contraception, so I kind of think the whole argument's defeated.
Well, but people are getting onto it, hey?
Yeah, well, not
Louise Perry.
But anyway, so look, churches were selling out, churches were empty, but if you stop having children, you know, if procreation isn't primary, well, like, here's the payoff. Like, no one, if you don't turn up to the future, like Tommy, I went to that, I got a job to do the Tommy Robinson watch, didn't I? And they're all there. Look, it was really nice, good. Like, I looked around, and all these guys, young guys, I was like, these would all be amazing dads, amazing guys. Kind of reminded me of like amateur football days. Like, just full of personality, full of fun, full of life. Yeah, not got kids, or a few of them have got kids, but all that kind of around my age that would have had in a kind of Christian world more children. I thought, well, so they're kind of complaining about big government and Muslims taking over, but if everyone's born into contraception and has not repopulated the towns that they live in
a democratic country,
democratic, and if you kind of if you're bringing a complaint sheet to a population war, you're going to lose. You know, people have created a vacuum in power, power vacuum, isn't it? And by not having children, and let's say Muslims have moved in, they're having a lot of children, and you know, it's kind of they're claiming the victory, and big government. As soon as you're divorcing, splitting up, you're kind of saying to the government, right, well, we need bigger government, we need a bigger state to look after my children, to help pay services, things that families would have taken care of. And when you've got lots of families, you can even see here in our microcosm, like just a couple of families in this area builds a kind of community. We know each other, we're on the lookout for each other. And people get assimilated into a community. If everyone's divorced and no one knows each other, the stranger comes in, he just stays a stranger. I think it's kind of, I think maybe people look at religion and think, wow, that's all rosy and nice for you, and isn't that nice that you do that nice thing? But it is actually kind of...
Or boring, but you're making yourself do it, or...
Yeah, it's up to you. That's your nice thing, it's up to you. But it is like the best
You
chance.
must feel good about yourself. Or
Yeah,
something.
all that kind of sorry, stupid stuff. But it's really the best chance we've got, I would say, of...
What, our faith?
Yeah,
Is it 'cause
us
it is?
personally, but even
Yeah.
for community and for just a natural world.
Yeah.
You know, of carrying on cultures,
Yeah, this is
passing
an
on
argument
values,
for everyone, yeah.
not relying on the government to, you know, we don't need a bigger police force, we just need bigger communities. We don't need, even we can't afford homes, right? Homes are so expensive but you can thank contraception. Double income mortgages, how are people guaranteeing a double income mortgage? You don't have children, so you can both work, you know. I don't think it's because they're abstaining for the whole of their youth. You know, it's contraception is guaranteeing those double income mortgages, which is pricing out all these people that do have families and someone has to stay at home, look after the kids, and there's one income. You can't afford to get on the ladder. Well, we all signed up for it when we signed up for contraception. I mean, look,
So
that's
the
just-
massive ramifications.
Yeah, massive
of-
ramifications.
So what are your
So my beef.
connection
So part of my
with- Yeah,
beef.
come on.
Part of my beef is
Bring it back together.
bringing it back together. We're trads, so it kind of behooves the trad, especially the man, really, to kind of look into not just the latest thing is not necessarily the greatest thing. I think we should be looking if I'm going to the trad mass, what is actually the traditional teaching, and why has it changed? Like, how come? That's crazy. That is scandalous. That you could just get an annulment if you just said if you ticked all the right boxes, you could be out of this marriage and remarried in a couple of years.
And be one of a massive
That is crazy.
stat
That is crazy.
globally.
That you could be a Catholic of good standing. Because in the culture, in the kind of secular culture, men are not getting married, are they? Because they're just staying, it's a hilarious phrase, situationship. You know, just lives with the girl in a flat, no commitment, so everyone's on their best behaviour for each other. But as soon as people get married, they're getting divorced, rinsed for all their assets. Like, why would you, if you didn't believe in God and...
Why'd you put yourself in that position?
Yeah, why do you think it's crazy? And now the church...
And some people can have children, but nah,
Yeah,
I'm all right,
nah,
thanks.
yeah, I've got
I won't.
one will do. And then you're going to be paying maintenance.
So your point is, even if the church has changed...
What's my defence, or what's your defence, if I just decided one day I'm not feeling the love, I'm not feeling the unity? I don't know. And why is it?
I don't know.
Because we've got a part. Oh, I've got to finish on this. See, here now in mainstream teachings on sex will be it's bonding and babies. Not necessarily in that order, but not in that order either. Well, we've kind of all just bought in, frog in the water, to bonding, but I don't totally agree that it is bonding. Like, if you... Is it inherently for babies? It is inherent. Whether you get one or not. If you looked at sex...
That act is...
Yeah, inherently
is
procreative to produce babies.
directed towards...
Yeah, could you look at it and say, it is inherently for bonding? You could say, well, like going for a meal. If I went for a meal with you, the food tastes great and it's very pleasurable. And I would have a lovely time with it. And bonding might be one of the outcomes from it, but...
You've eaten a nutritious meal or not eaten a nutritious meal.
Yeah, you could say nutrition is inherent to food, pleasure, like the nice taste is inherent, but to say it's got some kind of bondinium particles in it that if I eat them and you eat them, they kind of send off wavelengths, that's crazy. Or...
I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you
like,
mean.
yeah,
I wonder if people are just going to say, yeah, but that's human food rather than you and another person. Can have those little... No, I think bonding does happen. That's what I want to make a point.
It may or may
It does
not.
happen.
Well,
It does.
What about you've got a friend who calls it sometimes a job in the night? Well, she's quite entitled to just call it a job in the night. You know, it may just be, you know, one spouse might lie back and say, darling, I love you. Yeah, and the next one might just think, yeah, I love me too. You know, that might just be completely egotistic. But you can't guarantee the outcome of bonding.
Oh.